Nothing can beat the sound of explosions happening simultaneously as you breach from 5 different directions into a house, teammates calling out updates quickly and precisely, gunfire erupting upstairs above you, and with momentum pushing into an enemy room, taking out 2 hostile terrorists, and securing the hostage safely. No other game is like that. No other game can carry my excitement with such momentum. It's not just the excitement you get from epic unscripted moments in games like Battlefield 1, where there's seemingly hundreds of soldiers all within one battle. It's the excitement from the amount of dynamic firefights that occur in Rainbow Six Siege. You will never experience a round the same way as another. Enemies will always act different. You will always have to adapt to every single second of a situation in Rainbow Six Siege, and that is where it shines. Rainbow Six Siege has more depth than any other competitive first-person shooter from the past 5 years so far. Unlike competitive shooters such as CSGO, where the maps are static and never change, and one map makes up 73% of all matches played in the entire game, Rainbow Six chooses the maps for you in those public rounds, meaning that most players don't exactly know every map like the back of their hand. Additionally, every single location in Rainbow Six Siege has different rooms that can be chosen or randomly picked to also defend. Therefore, again, unlike competitive games like CSGO, your team has to adapt to the situation if a bomb is located in the opposite side of a building than it was last round. The destruction also in Rainbow Six Siege is another whole step into the depth of the game. Most walls and floors are destructible, and the genius map designers place these walls in strategic locations that are known to change the gameplay when destroyed. Defenders have the ability to hit tiny holes in walls called kill holes that enable them to have an eye on the enemy while staying relatively concealed behind a minuscule hole in a wall, meaning that the entire enemy team might make a fatal error by hopping through a certain window when being watched through a wall. Rainbow Six isn't just a destructive tactical shooter though. A new player won't only have to learn and adjust to different locations, bomb sites, and recoil patterns of weapons, they'll have to adjust to 28 different operators on the field, all containing varying weapons, gadgets, abilities, armor mounts, agility, and appearances. This is one of the most genius ways of making a game replayable, enabling the user to not only control one character, adjusting his loadout and gear, but 28 different characters, with the ability to choose in between them every single round depending on how you and your team want to attack and what enemies you want to counter. If you know your enemy and their abilities, you will eventually learn to counter them. If you know yourself and your abilities, you will eventually learn to use your abilities against the enemy more effectively to win. For example, a defensive character named Bandit can place car batteries against objects such as a reinforced metal wall, effectively stopping enemy gadgets from being able to destroy them, as they will disable any electronic devices upon impact. To counter a bandit, 2 characters can be chosen to disable his shock batteries: Thatcher and Twitch. Thatcher has the ability to throw small EMP grenades, disabling all electronics within a small distance, and Twitch can use her taser device attached to her drone to effectively overvolt the car battery, forcing it to shut down and disable. Every defensive operator has a counter, every device can be destroyed, every wall can be broken. In Siege, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Combat in Rainbow Six Siege is the fastest paced combat you've seen in a long time. A well-aimed bullet can mean that the operator is dead before they even heard the report of the rifle. This is fast. Really goddamn fast. Even the heaviest armored characters in the game will have a faster time to kill than the average Battlefield 1 soldier, and that means that reactions and timing are key in this game. If you aren't fast, they will be faster. I recently purchased a 144Hz monitor, and without any doubt I can say that the increase in frame rate is extremely useful, and almost necessary in a game like Rainbow Six Siege. You're constantly going through hectic firefights in Siege where a well-placed shot can kill you instantly, and therefore having something like a higher refresh rate monitor almost has the effect that slow motion would have on my playstyle. The ability to react faster than hostile players, to control recoil and aim more efficiently, and to simply see things easier when turning quickly is a must for competitive gamers in this game. And as a person who highly believes in the most gaming-enhancing gadgets as just placebo, I can honestly say that the new monitor, with the help of that sexy GTX 1080, makes me, a measly converted console peasant, much better at Rainbow Six Siege. But what does actually go wrong sometimes in Siege? Other than the enemy team itself, the game is very populated with netcode issues, desynchronization, simply not looking anything like it did in E3, matchmaking errors, and apparently has a higher amount of hackers than usual, although I've only seen around maybe 2 in my 400 hours of playtime. But still, my point remains. I cannot convey more just how dynamic this game is. Every single fight is different, every team in competitive matches has their own playstyle, and you will eventually learn to counter it by the end of the round. Some teams and players are better at attacking than defending. Some teams will flank or counterattack you when you enter their building, while some teams will quietly hide within the objective room, silently awaiting your arrival. The experience of Siege is something I'd say is not even on the same page as games like Battlefield, CSGO, Titanfall, Call of Duty. It's its own genre, its own game. I have to give it to the team who created Rainbow Six Siege. I was originally not even interested in purchasing the game December 2015, and I did not really believe that it would ever be a successful game. It was advertised in the same method as games like The Division, relying on cool cinematics and absolutely staged gameplay reveals that you knew the final game would be nothing like.
You guys, you good?
Yeah, I'm ready.
No, wait. What? You all right?
Yeah, all good.
All right, set up, and on 3. 1, 2, 3! Good job, guys.
Yeah. All right, I'll get her.
Yes, the game's most definitely downgraded in terms of graphics since its E3 reveal, but there's a point at around the last quarter of most developments of a game where massive overhauls to the graphics and physics happen to further optimize the game to be more playable on even lower end PCs and also lower end consoles. And at ultra graphics, goddamn, this game is still really pretty. I'm fine with optimization over graphics, as it allows me to play games at 144 FPS on medium-high settings, which is much more important for gameplay appeal to me than, ooh, pretty textures. The sound design of the game is beautiful. Audio travels down corridors and quietly but commonly seeps through walls to give early warning of a hostile on the other side.
Joe Demon, careful.
I've had moments filled with immersion when I hear a gunfight on the floor below me, but I don't hear it through the hard metal floor at my feet, I hear it from the stairs leading down to the firefight. Sounds will echo off walls, through doorways and hallways realistically, and nothing is creepier than hearing faint steps in the corner you forgot to check. The awesome sound design of the game is additionally associated well with the game's amazing and well-fitting soundtrack. The first track is the main theme, which fits perfectly with how a regular game of Siege plays out. The song is unpredictable, and therefore leading the listener into a feeling of danger and almost suspense. Almost a silent danger. Another highlight is the more hopeful sounding third track, Loadout. The character design of the game is also genius. Every character has their own silhouette, their own coloration, their own face, their own detailed backstory and personality. All players are fully voice acted and will shout out even when they deploy their device, or yell in pain when they take damage. I find myself calling probable male players with female pronouns because they're simply playing a female character in the game, and I'm so engaged by the actual characters in the game that my mind feels as if they deserve true titles. The weapons they all use are unique in their own way, and the weapons feel and act closer to real-life weapons than any other game. Recoil is relatively realistic compared to other titles, sound effects are crisp and sharp and right where they should be, and pistols are actually powerful and aren't nerfed to oblivion like most games. It just feels good to shoot a shotgun into some drywall and see the detailed and realistic hole that it created, and then to peek through that hole and shoot an unsuspecting enemy right behind it. The gameplay is right where it should be, and it allows for so much more creativity and possibilities than any other FPS out there at the moment, and the team behind the game deserves praise for even the most basic combative moments of this game. I like to classify the development of games like Rainbow Six Siege as what needs to happen with more game devs. The devs plan to create a base game as a decent shooter, then add on maybe 3 DLCs, and depending on the reaction from the recipients, they would most definitely make more or not make more depending on how they reacted. This is what was done with many Pioneer type games beforehand, like Minecraft. Without its popularity, would have never been updated to the state Minecraft is today. Halo 4's Spartan Ops mode was only planned to be updated if it gained popularity, which, since it fully fell flat on its face, only was abandoned with 1 season completed. The developers of Rainbow Six Siege listened to their audience, and they listened well. I mean, if Tachanka's turret shield buff doesn't prove it, I really don't know what does. Because the cooperation of the fans and the developers of the game has nearly doubled in population since release. Yes, it actually has more players right now than it did on launch day, or even any of the days within the first 6 months of its launch day. There are other Ubisoft games as well that, well, weren't made with a lot of heart. And those other games usually come and go, but this is a game that is still thriving on the number 17 spot in the Steam game population. And for good reason. The developers have actually cared and actually wanted their game to be successful, and all it takes for a good goal like this to come true is some hard dang work and 3 prayers to Lord Tachanka a day.